This week, as we host the Overcome Retreat, it will mark 3 years since our first retreat. Throughout the years of hosting these retreats, we've had hundreds and hundreds of business owners come and join us. As in any business, things change along the way, but one thing has remained the same. Our mission, that is to focus on integrity, that is to focus on leadership and legacy. It's to focus on bringing people together of high integrity that are focused on developing as leaders and securing a legacy they're proud of. And then at its core, for everyone who comes and joins us as a member and those who just join us on a retreat, our mission together is to revolt against average. As the host, I'm not gonna lie, it's extremely exhausting mentally, physically, emotionally after you leave the retreats, because we as a team, the Revolt team, we pour so much into the attendees and try to give them our best. But there's nothing more fulfilling than leaving a retreat 6 months, a year, 18 months, 2 years down the road, hearing the stories of positive change. But one thing that we've realized along the way in the 3 years of doing retreats is that it couldn't be dependent on me. And so this week, our 3-year anniversary of starting our retreats, is going to be the first retreat that I'm not going to be leading. Now, we've had retreats in the past for the last year and a half or so where I've started to bring in the team and they've led some of the sessions. But this will be the first retreat that is fully led by another team member, and I couldn't be more excited.
The biggest stress with these is knowing that people from all over are coming to one spot, and you have to communicate with them and make sure that they're taken care of. And going into the retreats, you have to find a house that's big enough, obviously. At least 30 beds is what we're always aiming for. And then, but the number starts adding up because people start finding out about it, and then people want to attend. And it's really stressful because, like I said, you're having people from all over come to this one location, and you have to make everybody happy.
That's what we try to do the best we can with this specific retreat, is looking for people that we knew had a gap, but that we also knew were a good fit for us, because not everyone's a good fit.
And then you have to get the swag, and then you have to get the chef, and all of it comes together for this one piece, for this 3-day event that takes months to plan for.
Ultimately, to reach the amount of people we want to reach here at Revolt, we have to develop more leaders, and that's exactly what we're doing. So the lead man on the Overcome Retreat is going to be Robert Posey. Robert was with me at the very first retreat in August of 2019. He was at the second retreat in October of 2019 in Mexico. He was at the third retreat and the sixth retreat and the 8th retreat. He's been at a lot of the events with us. He's seen it done. He's helped lead, and now he gets the opportunity to blossom and run the show, and I can't wait to see him do it.
From the start all the way until the end, and what's the topic of each one? Not the title, because the titles are real ambiguous. Real ambiguous. It's like, what do you think?
So I sent them that file, and
he said he worked on it a little bit.
Okay.
But I would like,
I added a lot of what I did.
Yeah, so I don't think I had any nerves coming up to this, at least not at first. And then right around the time when we were getting ready to start, it started to click maybe a week before, how much responsibility there is going into these retreats. Like,
why don't we do food? Let's knock out the food part of this discussion and the logistics of the food part of this discussion. You're good on the dates.
Oh yeah. I've got it all like set up and everything for my other jobs and stuff. It's not a problem.
That's awesome.
We work on the personal. We work on being able to help people become better leaders, so that in that they become a better business when they go back to their offices and to their teams.
We've seen people report suicide prevention. Like we have saved people from committing suicide. We've saved people from divorce, and like we've got a phenomenal team, and I felt like confident we could get it done, but then it hit me how important it was if we did a bad job. If I led this without my whole heart, if I went into it and I missed a step, if I screw up, there's literally lives at stake. And I think that started to weigh on me.
Whose computer's up there?
You think Robert can do it?
No. That's gonna be a good blooper. Is that a real question?
Yeah.
Man.
What's up, guys? We're here in Sevierville, Tennessee. Beautiful, beautiful Gatlinburg back here in the background. We've got 36 men here to work on themselves and to work on their business.
So when we are at the retreat, when we get there, it's hands-on. I mean, the team gets there earlier so that we can prep. So it's really organizing and making sure that we all as a team funnel everyone to each activity that we're gonna do.
So here's the thing. At these retreats, we ask you one thing. We ask you to show up and go all in. Just like in our businesses, in our families, in our communities, we have adversity, we have things constantly fighting against us. The way that we show up is the most important thing. That's why these 2 days have been so crucial to the success and growth of these business owners who are part of Revolt.
We're gonna focus day one.
Man, I'd seen some content, so I had seen previous videos and, you know, kind of piqued interest and went to pull the trigger last year, and then we got smoked with hail, and, you know, I had to run a business and, you know, just couldn't devote that time. And so this year, whenever this came about and whenever it was announced, literally that night, here's some information, this is what we're gonna do. And I was like, sign me up, let's do it.
So to be honest, I didn't really know what to expect. This is my first time ever coming to any kind of retreat or conference in the roofing industry. Like, if you're not growing, you're dying. If you're not learning, you can't grow. So I knew coming together and meeting with others who are in my same position as small business owners, you know, between $1 to $5 million in revenue, which is right where we're at.
Coming to the Revolt retreat, I'm super excited to network with this group of people. Just being able to gain from their experiences, like-minded people, and also to be able to share my experiences and just come together and just, as they said tonight, breathe the same air.
Going into that, I think there's some sort of expectation of a pitch. I think there's some sort of a, you know, what's the catch sort of vibe.
The first question that always gets asked is, what's the catch? You know, this seems too good to be true. I don't believe it. This doesn't seem right. And it makes sense, because when I'm calling you and I'm offering a free retreat with incredible coaches, with free lodging, free food, it can sound too good to be true.
When you come into this retreat, you have no clue what's about to happen.
But we decided, like, let's just remove that going into it before we even get started. We're gonna tell them what the price is. We're gonna make sure that they have crystal clear understanding of when we get to the end of this, this is what we're gonna ask of you. If you so choose to be a part of it, you're welcome to.
What's this free retreat about? Like, why is it free? Surely there's a pitch.
We're gonna get that off the table right now so that you guys can decide. You wanna stay, you're welcome to stay. You wanna buy, you're welcome to buy. You don't wanna buy, that's okay. We've committed to you guys to creating an impact and to creating a change. Buzzwords, buzzwords, buzzwords. We're here for you guys, period. So Revolt, it's a 12-month program. It's $21,000. Cool, done? By the end of this, we'll tell you what it is. We're gonna do like 20 minutes. When we get done with all of the productive stuff that we're gonna do, we save 20 minutes for us, that's it.
I think us starting this retreat, letting people know what Revolt is, was a game changer, because we got that weight off everyone's back, especially the staff's backs too.
But the number one most important thing at these retreats is that you're all in, that you're committed, that you're willing to participate with your whole heart, and you're not breaking away, you're not going to come in and be in your laptop the whole time. What we found was When we presented what the price point was, nobody flinched. Nobody moved out of their chair. Everybody stayed put. I asked for confirmation and they encouraged me, what's next? Just pass them out, they can open them themselves. Everybody lay your hand out flat.
Put that trap on top of it.
Everybody do it?
You want us to do it?
1,
Yeah. Put your hand.
2, 3. We all, where you at? You ran your business alone. A lot of us have been through that. We're going to face problems like that, right? And sometimes we've got to put a little trust in the system. We've got to call upon our brothers and we got to trust what they have to say. We've got to put a little faith in our leaders, our mentors, and we just go with it, right? The only time we fail is if we quit.
Yeah, really just came into the retreat looking for, to socialize with like-minded men that have been through the stuff that I'm going through now. Relatively new company, 2 years into it, so just looking to overcome some of those speed bumps that we know are gonna come.
What was most impactful for me was being around other men that were entrepreneurially minded.
I got to ask specific questions about business challenges that I'm currently facing, and just hearing different perspectives was also very helpful.
Maybe one of the most important and significant things that 90% of business owners, and if you were to judge it by the room and the people that we've surveyed, more like 97% of business owners neglect is their mission and their core values. If you guys don't have the expectation set of your core values, it makes difficult conversations hard to have.
You know, I don't own a business, but I went into it like with an open mind of thinking like, I'm gonna take something away from this. You know, like these guys own their own businesses. They've been through a lot of different stuff. And yeah, there's no way it wouldn't be beneficial to anybody, you know. You don't have to own a business to benefit from the retreat.
The reason we have them fill out the entire thing is because all of the surface level things, you're gonna get a lot of the same answers in the first, 5 to 10 responses. But after you've used up that first 5 to 10 vocabulary words, now people actually have to start to dig. These will be values that their entire team can vote on. And because the team has voted, because the team has taken or had an opportunity to give voice to which values are important to them, that is the entire team. You have a culturally sound foundation and everyone's on the same page to push and fight in the same direction. Getting done with day one was, like I said, I didn't have a ton of nerves until right then when it was time. When you have 36 men who are relying on you to have a breakthrough or some sort of massive experience, there's an expectation of something powerful, and that hit me all at once. Getting through it, man, everybody engaged so well. We had a blast playing all of the icebreaker games. We announced the investment, nobody flinched, everybody had a great time, and it felt like a pretty big sigh of relief, because not only do I have all the business owners and the industries to satisfy, I also got Hunter making sure, texting me, how's the first day go?
Did I? I don't think I did I?
And I was able to respond to him and say, we crushed it, we did a great job, and that felt amazing.
I think I sent out like a couple messages just saying like, how's it going? Everything going good? But I think I could say like, not to the point where I was like stressing it or anything. For me, it was never worried. I was never worried about could the team fulfill. I had no doubt that you guys could do it. It really was it's just weird that I'm not here. This is the first one. I've done so many. I've worked with so many of these guys and led so many of these lessons, and now I'm not the one doing it. So it's just weird for the first time.
Well, waking up at 7 a.m. to work out is definitely hard. I know for me it is, and I'm a little athletic, but I know for most of the people that come to the retreats, they're not expecting to get up and be ready to work out.
Guys, let's make a circle as best we can. We don't have the flattest spot in the world. Here's the thing. We're all about mind, body, and legacy. Stretching our mind, pushing our bodies, and growing our legacy. If you don't have the body to match the mind, if you don't have the mind to match the body, the stool tips over. It's always fun to see. The entire idea is about clear and concise instructions, moving quickly through the exercise.
And it's not just a 15-minute workout. We go through a whole process where everyone chooses a workout that we do 5 to 10 reps. And we had close to 40 people at this retreat, so it was an hour workout.
What ends up happening is somebody catches on what we're looking for.
So 4 months ago, March 27th, got a phone call on a Sunday afternoon that my dad wasn't breathing, he was unresponsive. Made the 40-minute drive to his house, saw my dad on his bedroom floor dead. My dad at 63 years old died of a massive heart attack. And it flipped a switch for me. I'm telling you guys right now, like your families, your guys, those guys rely on you to be in the best shape you could possibly be physically. You guys are the example.
The point is, guys, you don't have to be walking through your day with resistance. You put a little bit of extra in. Get up in the morning, figure out what works for you. Now, Chris, this is the first time we've had Chris come out. Chris has been a part of other programs like this. He's a certified instructor with another big program.
All right, yesterday we learned about the fact that like core values help facilitate and architect culture inside of your business, right?
So this morning we started out with a workout which gets everybody moving, gets their energy up, which is amazing in itself. But what I like to do is add in a element of teaching and training inside of it, so that these guys are focusing on like how they do one thing is how they do everything.
All right, so you guys are in charge of communicating the message back to your team. All right, pays to win. This isn't super complicated, but you've got to communicate to them so you guys can execute well. Make sense?
And so I gave the guys very basic instructions this morning, very simple instructions to one leader, and I told them to take it back to their team and execute on that instruction.
All right, you guys got 20 seconds.
We're doing up, down, burpees, okay? We do one.
Yeah, just follow my lead, right? So we're gonna do burpee, air squat. We're gonna come back, we're gonna do burpee, burpee.
Then we gotta do the whole thing twice. So we're gonna
And you've got 5 different teams and 5 different ways to lead and 5 different ways to communicate. And so the challenge with a lot of these guys is that they're just go, 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 do, do, do. They're not used to communicating so that their team actually knows what they're trying to execute on.
And it's just another exercise that we do within the workouts that just puts the mindset in people on this first day is about how I lead my team.
People are watching you. How many people realize like your team is watching you more? They're watching what you're doing more than what you're saying sometimes. But it's that combination of doing and saying that gets you guys to the finish line first, right?
Y'all ready?
Let's go.
1, 2, 3.
Revolt! Personally, I was a little different than most people. Most people or owners that are coming here. I'm coming here from the sales standpoint.
The growth and the contribution, getting better, constantly improving. One of my biggest takeaways is, again, separate myself from the business and put myself first. Strengthen myself, strengthen my body, strengthen my mind, strengthen my soul. This was just exactly where I needed to be and around the people that I needed to be. So I'm grateful to be here.
So the most impactful thing was just, people here really care about each other. It's a brotherhood. It's a free retreat. There's no gimmick or gotcha once you get here. But the accountability that you get to go through and kind of look at yourself in a way that you never looked at yourself.
The other thing that I think that is really cool about Revolt is the people that you're around. You're going to get information that would potentially take you
6 months, years to get, or maybe never.
So after breakfast, we started off the day with Chris Breen doing a talk. We call that first talk, self-worth over net worth. That first session, Chris kind of told his story, and I think he did a phenomenal job cracking open these tough exteriors and kind of exposing the gooey middle that we all have.
You have the right tools, okay? And you are the tool, okay? There's a hint for you. There's a tip, there's a trick, there's a hack. You are the tool to create that. So essentially this guy looking in the mirror, like the mirror is a big ass reflection of everything that you've created in your life so far, right? So do you want to change the culture inside of your business? Do you want to add some more zeros to your bank account? Do you want to increase your connection inside of your marriage? Like essentially it all starts with this guy, right? And like the problem is that you struggle to manage your business and then the rest of your life. How many people are married? How many people got kids? Okay, so that's part of the rest of your life. I was that guy. I was tired, stressed out, frantic, time deprived, right? You said you can't make more time. Like there's only so much time, right? Well, the reality is when you work on this, when you work on the person, the self-worth, you're not going to see miraculous change inside of your mindset. You can't see mindset in the mirror, can you? Right? You can't see mindset in the mirror. But the reflection that you see when your mind is right is completely different. Does that make sense?
I was really taken aback by the exercises that focused on a work-life balance. I really wasn't expecting to learn anything about that here, but I was kind of happily surprised to see that it was an emphasis of the retreat, not only to work on your business, but also to work on yourself. And I think everyone found a lot of value in that.
Thinking about that really opened up a lot of emotions for me, because I feel like we've been blessed to accomplish quite a bit in this business and in life in a short amount of time, but yet there's so many more things that I want to accomplish and that my team wants to accomplish.
And that just puts into a whole different perspective on how you look and view life in general itself.
Whether it be spending more time with your wife, being intentional with your children, going on dates with your wife, scaling your business, doing what you need to do in your personal life with, fitness and nutrition and all of those things, making amends of past relationships that were broken, those types of things. Why aren't we doing that?
Super impactful, really makes you think about the way you're living your life and maybe the things that you should be doing.
Well, Chris shared a very personal story of his about his son and some tough stuff that his child, his baby boy, was going through.
You can't make more time, right? You can make more money. We can all make more money, but we can't make more time. I'm going to share a story with you guys and end on this as far as why any of it matters. My middle son is his name is Connor. The story I'm going to tell you here is about when he was 14 years old. And it was a Saturday afternoon. My wife and I were downstairs. It's raining outside. It's gray. This picture doesn't show it well, but it was nasty out. He peeks his head over and he just stares at us, right? He's just like this, just staring at us. After a couple minutes, he finally breaks the silence and he's like, "Can we go for a walk?" And I'm like, this is odd. Like, I have to force this kid to leave the house most of the time, and he wants to go for a walk. I'm like ecstatic. I'm like, Connor wants to go for a walk with me, not my wife. He wants to go for a walk with me, with Dad. And so, the whole time I'm thinking, like, what does Connor want? Is this like a sex talk thing? Is this like there's a girl at school? Is like I don't know what's going on. But he's not talking. I'm giving him space. I'm not like prying. We're going for a walk. So we walk down to the park here. Enough time goes by. I'm finally like, "Hey, buddy, what's up? Like, is everything okay? Is there something wrong?" And it takes him a minute, but he finally comes out and he says, he doesn't say a lot of words, but it's impactful. He says, "Dad,
I'm sad all the time. He says, I'm sad all the time, and I don't know why. He says, it's a very slow conversation, and I'm just giving him space. I'm not prying. Inside, I'm dying. My heart's breaking. He says, he's very inquisitive, though, at this point. He's like, is there a doctor or something that I could, like, talk to? Like, do they have medicine that could help me with this? And I'm reassuring him, just absolutely, buddy. Like anything we will do everything we can for you. Yes, there's doctors. Yes, there's medicine. We will figure this thing out. Like, how are you feeling? What are you thinking? He says, I'm just sad all the time. He says, and sometimes I feel like I want to hurt myself. I'm just dying at this point. Looking back at it, right? I had done the work. To create the space for my son to feel comfortable enough to come to me, because I sent him a video or left him a post-it note for 2 years in a row with no response. Literally the message was just, I love you no matter what, buddy. I'm here for you. I'm always here for you. We're all chasing that, right? You got kids? No. Toss it to him. You got kids? Would you trade that bag of money for that conversation?
Giving that perspective allowed me, and I hope a lot of the other people in the room, from the stories it sounds like it, but it gave other people in the room a chance to think about, oh wow, like tough stuff doesn't just happen to me. When tough stuff does come up, I will have a place to speak on it. When you have somebody who speaks, somebody who comes powerfully with a story of vulnerability, it kind of sets the stage for the rest of the trip to allow, it gives permission to the members or to the attendees of how should they be behaving, what kind of room they're in. Is it a safe place to share and open up, or should they remain kind of withdrawn? I think that first session of the day may be one of the most powerful pieces of the entire day.
Staying in a cabin with 30, 40 other strangers might seem a little daunting at first, but it was pretty much seamless. It seems like everyone almost felt like they knew each other immediately. Definitely the eulogy letter that we wrote was the most impactful thing to me.
In this group, there's 36 of us. In the next 5 years, one of us, maybe a few of us, are gonna take the ultimate exit. We're gonna leave this earth, and we need to treat every day with that same respect. We need to look at every single day the core values and the character traits, the way that we show up for our team, for our families. You do not know when your last day on earth is going to be. This is where we give the attendees an opportunity to look inside themselves. We have them watch a video of one of our past Revolt members, Lex Wilbanks. Lex came to that exact same retreat. He's been through the exact same exercises, those 2.5 days, and just 4 months later, Lex passed on. Went from being completely healthy, writing a eulogy and trying to identify who he was, define who he was. That's the idea behind this exercise, is that if you were to die today, would you be able to confidently say that you left behind a legacy, something that you're proud of?
While the Lex we'd love to hug one more time is gone, the date of death on his headstone is not a representation of the impact his legacy continues to make.
Sure, you guys right.
We went out to a gravesite, which was kind of weird at first, I'll be honest. The reason it was really impactful for me is because I'd never looked at my life, I guess, in reverse order.
No one can truly describe how that makes you feel.
This time, though, we decided to change things up just a smidge. We added a little bit of a guided meditation in the very beginning. We had Chris bring some of his knowledge from other other camps where he's done this before.
You guys heard Robert say this is a sacred place. And we all picked whatever tombstone. Go ahead and take a knee, guys. Whatever tombstone spoke to you, for whatever reason, you guys picked it. I picked this one here. It's in the center of this entire place. The smallest, most insignificant. There's not even a date on this thing, right? What does that say to you? I know it says something to me, and it spoke to me, which is why I chose this one. I'm sure nobody's been here in a while to clean it off, pick away the weeds, but we're all here right now honoring it, right? I don't know who MD is, right? I read of a man who stood to speak at a funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on his tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted, first came her date of birth and then her date of death, and spoke of the following dates with tears. But what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For the dash represents all the time that he spent alive on this earth. And now, only those that loved him know what that little line is really worth. For it matters not how many cars we own, the houses, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that can still be rearranged. If we could just slow down enough to consider what's true and real and always try to understand the way that people feel. Be less quick to anger and show appreciation more. And love the people in our lives like we've never loved before.
Chris, he really highlighted what he was about to share with giving us that build up from, the travel, all of the event, and then traveling to the gravesite, and then all of a sudden, bam, that was it.
You didn't make it here. You're not sitting in the cemetery with us right now. You don't get to experience the video of our brother who sat here and did this same exercise. You're gone. What's going through your mind? What are the things that were left unsaid before you came to this event? What are the things you wish you had the opportunity to go back and do with your family? What would you want your wife and kids to know, your parents to know, the people that are closest to you in your lives? What would you want them to know?
You have one letter, one opportunity to make everything right. What would you write to them? What would you say to them if you wanted them to have a perspective, to look back at you and their memories of you, and to know why you did some of the things that you did? Did you have any regret or remorse for some of the ways that you behaved? Were you spending too much time in your business? Did you cheat on your spouse? Did you lie? Did you say hurtful things to your kids? Was there something that happened, or are there things going on in your life right now that you have to be remorseful for? So we have them write this letter out. We give them plenty of time. Everybody's extremely quiet. And what was interesting at this trip was, like, there was kind of a cloud cover rolling in, and we're already in the mountains and the hills, and it's kind of a, I don't know, it's a humid area up there, even though it's in the hills. But off in the distance, you hear a little bit of a crack of thunder. And I remember making a comment to William that, like, man, it'd be crazy if it started raining right when they start reading. And sure enough.
Yeah.
Also, I leave the shame. So I would want her to know that everything that I've always told her.
And it was so loud with the rain hitting the ground, and there was puddles forming all over, and we literally could not hear anyone. The title of the retreat is Overcome. You know, we try to be solutions forward, solutions focused. And right there in that moment, there wasn't a way for the exercise to continue on and be as impactful. So we knew we had to pack up and head back to the cabin.
Yeah, it's definitely a weird dynamic coming in and not having that rapport beforehand and trying to build it in such a short time, because you know, we came up and our plan was just, hey, we're going to come up, shake some hands, meet some people, do the fireside, and head home. You could tell that the group was pretty well connected already. You could tell that they were jiving well, that they liked each other, and that's usually the case. You know, I mean, I can only think of one, maybe two retreats we've done where there was a little angst in between attendees, but you could tell that it was a good group that enjoyed being together and learning from each other. I've led it when we've done it in the house, and I've led it when we've done it in the field, and I've led it in the field when it was nice weather, when it was okay weather, when it was absolutely horrible weather. I think the importance of doing it out there in the field where you're already in the moment is super important. So I'm not really a fan of bringing it back to the house and resetting mentally and kind of disconnecting from that moment where people are in their emotion and thinking about the exercise they're going through in their life mission.
Yeah, there was a period where I was wondering, are we going to lose some of the impact? And we didn't.
You know, the reality of that is now I get a second opportunity. I get to go back and I get to implement these things that I've always wanted to do, that didn't get precedence, that other things took over. I wish I were better, that I wasn't so selfish with my time and my emotions. You, Hudson and Hannah, not gonna be the only one, man.
Just the thought that you have to put into that of you just not being here, you know, and what you would say.
Know that your son was so proud of the woman that birthed him. I ask this as your son.
We really kind of face mortality, like we're all going to die, and what kind of legacy do we leave behind, and what do we do with the time that we have here?
So they really get you thinking, you know, if this is your last day, what would you say to the people that matter the most? What would you do differently? And when it really is framed in that way and you see it from a different perspective, and then this light bulb goes off that you're not dead, it's not too late.
Well, this was the first time we did the exercise in this way. Normally it's done as writing a eulogy. One of your family members writes your eulogy about you. In this way, I wanted to see if you had to address your least favorite things about yourself, the ways that you've let people down, the things that you truly feel guilt and shame for. One of our members, Brian, actually wrote he wrote a letter to each members of his family. He poured everything he had into this letter.
Finally, to my beautiful bride, I'm going to miss you so much. I never deserved you. You saw something within me from the start that I've often struggled to see for myself. You've been my inspiration, my motivation, and the one who holds me accountable, even when no one else is willing to. I know that things are going to be different now. You're such a strong woman, and I know you'll be even stronger when this time has passed. I love you and Addison so much, and hope that all the time, hard work, and preparations we've made will provide both of you with an amazing life without me. Live it to the fullest and treat every day like it's your last. The cash and policy docs are in the safe. The code is.
And I think he crushed the room. Like, there was not a dry eye in there. Every single person there heard something they could relate back to themselves in his letter. Like, I'm grateful to have been able to share the room and the experience, and you know, I was also heartbroken at some of the stuff some of these guys were sharing. Gino, for instance, rock star human being. He shows up, he puts everything into the retreat, same as everybody else. Well, Gino gets up there and he's writing about his kids. He has 3 kids. He made it through maybe the first 2 paragraphs before he really started to crumble, and man, he was destroyed. He was burying his face into his arm, you know, looking away. Really, really, really powerful. But he got to the point where a lot of us get to when we're emotional, where we can't speak, we can't get our voice out. And he looked over at one point, tears pouring down his face, and he brushed his face off like this, and he reached over and handed me his notepad. And he gestured for me to read it. And I wasn't sure. You never know what you're about to open up. You never know what you're about to read. When Gino had me start reading his letter, there were some similarities to my life and his life that it felt like I was reading the letter to my own kids, and I was crushed. And I cried too. I love you, Maria, Nikki, Katya, and Sasha. I always did and will be. My kids, my daughters, you are growing as wonderful human beings, and your mother doing an awesome job by raising you. Please be thankful and respectful to your mother. Please never ever think to harm any of your sisters or your mothers. Remember that we are the family, and until you have your own kids, we are the most important people in your life. Yeah, man. I've had some practice with this sort of thing, and I was able to get it out for the both of us. But, like, man, I don't know, emotionally, it's maybe one of the most healing things that you can do, but it's also one of the hardest things that you'll ever go through.
Yes. I never thought that I'm gonna react like that, my mind, my body, my emotions. But it did happen. It brings a lot of weird feelings outside, a lot of weird motions, a lot of weird thoughts that after it happened, you realize that that's normal. I'm glad that I went through it. Definitely made me think about a lot of things, and made me to do a lot of moves in the last 2 days. Like actually, I took action that I was never thought about.
So I mean, it was super powerful, super deep, and normally I wouldn't feel comfortable talking about it in front of anyone, but the family here, the brotherhood, they just make it super, super. They just uplift you and encourage you, and you can open up here, and it's a safe place to talk. It's just super powerful.
After the eulogy or last letter exercise, we go through a little bit more. There's a handful more exercises, and then we eat dinner. And the last thing that we do for the evening is the fireside transformation. So during the fireside transformation, we will sit in a circle as a group. Again, everyone participates. We put a fire in the middle, and it's just a time to open up. It's a time to share. It's a time to reflect on, what did we expose earlier in the day. It's a time for us to reflect on things that are going on back at home, just to get stuff off our shoulders and again, further open up.
I know Posey kind of hit on it earlier. There's a lot of experience in this group. There's a lot of collective perspective in this group. There's a lot of people that have been hurt, whether that's in a marriage. We've had people that have lost children. We've had people that have had cancer. We've had people that have been an addict and they're in recovery. There's a lot of experience right here in this room. And you get it for free this weekend. And you get it for free when you leave here and you stay in touch with the other guys here. For me, that's always important that we set the tone of the weekend and say, this isn't just about this weekend. It's about going home and implementing and doing the stuff you say you're going to do.
Having some, I guess, consolation with men that have also been there that, want to be mentors, but also need mentoring, and that just camaraderie to be able to share your heart is huge. That's impactful.
Guys don't open up about their feelings and stuff very often, but opening up about different things that are going on in our lives and everything, it was very impactful to me.
To bottle those things up, we're afraid to admit failure. We're afraid to admit just different things in our lives.
Chances are, if you're going through it and you open up about it, there's going to be somebody else there that's already been through it or is going through the same thing.
Yeah, it's if I could share one thing, I know Dimitri, you talked about like drinking and the issues it's had. I tell you what, guys, June 21st of 2016, I got sober, and it's the best thing that has ever happened to me. I mean, it's just, if you're ever considering it or thinking about it, do it. I mean, it's what do you got to lose? And all the issues that I had in my life were all self-created by drugs and alcohol. And
so Posey mentioned, or Hunter mentioned being connected and having a network, right? Like your net worth is only as good as your network. And it's
now you've said something, and you've got somebody to hold you accountable. If you wrote those letters here and read those letters here in front of us, and didn't make that phone call, and nobody knows when you leave here that even happened, then I mean, you go home, you do nothing about it, nobody knows the wiser. But you people, those of you that have made the phone calls, I mean, now somebody's at home to hold you accountable for acting on what you've already told them you're going to do.
We open up, we tell people what we've been through, we tell people what we've gone through, and then we throw that problem in the fire and we forget about it. And yeah, you probably don't forget about it as per se, but doing the exercise makes you think of the solutions and not just the problem. So it's a great exercise once you open up and you see what other people have gone through, and you're like, oh, that's me. I mean, I've been through that problem. I've been through that with my wife. I've been through that with my business, and these people have a solution to maybe something that I'm about to go through.
Honestly, it didn't feel any different than it has in the past. It felt like I had my brother, it felt like I had my teammate, as opposed to the founder of the company, the boss sitting up there critiquing me. I think he did a good job. The Fireside transformation is where they get to open up. So having Hunter there, he actually was extremely supportive. I was grateful to have him, making sure that the exercise went well and that nobody felt any sort of pressure to perform, because it's not what this is about. I don't think it's a performance. I think it's actually about having that safe space, and I think we worked well together.
By the time we get to day 2, I think, or day 3, people have already gotten so much value, and we've heard it time and time again. Man, day 1 would have been enough. I could have gone home and already would have been paid for, but it's free, but it would have been, gotten the information that I needed. So day 3 is pretty much a bonus, but it's a bonus of a lot of content, of a lot of things you can go and implement.
Here's what I want to see. Integrity is really, really important. We're gonna keep everybody accountable here. So what I want to see from you guys is good, clean reps.
Think about what we're gonna do today, the trainings we're gonna go through today. Let your mind be clear so you can take all that in.
Set goals, and you get distracted. It's not the goals that are the problem, it's your discipline. So we're gonna start back over at the foundation. Yeah, so day 3 is really a blast. We start the day going into reverse engineering your goals. We get really clear on where are they trying to get to. Not 10 years from now, but in the next 12 months, what has to happen? It's got a goal, top line revenue goal. 3 million.
7 million.
7 million. So for everybody, the quarters are gonna be a little bit different. He's in Los Angeles. They've got, it sounds like toward the end of the year, maybe a busy.
Summer through the end of the year. The beginning's a little slow.
So yours might be Q3, Q4, 35. Then
Just for your region. Because, for example, there are small markets. We have Columbus, for example, it's very near where we're based.
Georgia?
Yeah, Columbus, Georgia. It's only 40 minutes.
She thinks that she's holding the God for the beard already. Doesn't matter what you're gonna do, she's gonna leave.
Right,
Unless you give her 51% of ownership. She won't take 50. She will make excuse around.
She'll take 50.
She won't take 50. She will take 50 and tomorrow she's gonna ask for one more.
Potentially.
You're gonna give it to her, then she asks for one more. And eventually she will run you out. But that's not gonna happen. She will leave you. She's already planning her own business. I bet that she already has her own LLC.
this particular retreat, we had Jeff Boab talking about marketing, and the aim of his talk is to give something to the crowd that they can walk away with more knowledgeable than basic visibility and branding.
Phone book advertising was crazy, and I would hear from contractors all the time, everybody knows me. Everybody knows me. Why do I need a phone book ad? And I'd go, okay, I'll play this game. Like, how many customers do you have? And the person would say, I don't know, 500, 1,000, 1,500. I'm like, wow, there's 1.75 million people in Southampton Roads. You have 500 customers and everybody knows you and you don't need to advertise? Like, doesn't make any sense, right? So a lot of business owners, they get stuck in that rut. They're like, oh, I'm at 1 million, I'm at 2 million. Everybody knows me. Like, it's, you know, but they're at 2 million next year, 1.7 the next year, 2.2, and they're never growing. So companies like this, they really understand, even though they've got a significant market share, right, that they've got to advertise. Because if they don't, when you're growing, you've got people, processes, budget, right, all of those things. So you have to lay out a plan on realistically what you can do in the beginning, right? And if your budget is limited, let me just tell you, you're not going to be on fire with lead generation. Lead generation is too expensive on a limited budget, right? So what you've got to do is say, look, we will fix your foundation digitally, and then we'll start to grow.
Then Ryan Groth came up later in the afternoon. Ryan kind of set the stage where we're not just business owners, we're warriors. He talked about a framework for the sales process, and having a background in baseball. Ryan did a great job using the 4 bases, first base, second base, third base, and home plate. And each one of those giving a very specific definition so that your sales team knows how they should be moving a conversation.
But what you are is your competitors. Who you are is your warriors and your leaders, and you're a general of an army, and you're creating a high-performing organization that happens to install roofs. But who you are has to start. You have to believe who you are first, and you're not a roofer. You are an architect. You are a general. You are a strategic leader for such a time as this, to build something special that nobody can freaking duplicate. And you happen to sell and install roofs.
One of the favorite things that we do is always the field trip on the 3rd day. So this is what we refer to as intentional relationship building. So we all pack into our vehicles, we form a line, and we head off down the mountain, over the hills and through the woods to a football field. We get out, everybody always, one of my favorite parts is the warm-up, just kind of getting your body going. Everybody's, Uncle Rico, getting their arms loose and throwing. It's almost like tryouts, at least for me, and I'm sure for Hunter. We're already watching the field because we know how this is gonna go. We're looking for who's got speed. We're looking for who's got an arm, who can actually catch the ball. I want to see how some of these people can move. Some of them haven't exercised in a decade. Some of them exercise and play sports on a regular basis. So it's a very diverse group of people. It always is. So we line these guys up in the center, just like back in school, out on the schoolyard, and we have them choose. So all of the rest of the attendees are in a big circle, and they're looking around and they're picking people. And it's always interesting to see who gets picked and how they get picked and why they get picked. So the teams, I think, end up usually pretty fair, unless Hunter's there. We had enough people there that we would have ended up with like 17 players per team. So we decided to go with 3 teams. And the third team pushed to the side, and as soon as we get ready to start playing, rain again. Starts pouring down rain, and there we are, soaking wet, having a blast. It's one of my favorite things in the world is to play outside in the rain ever since I was a kid.
Yeah, baby! Daniel, he's back! Something quick coming. You guys, make them walk outside of it.
It's always fun to just go back and be a kid and just play. Just play. It's like playing with your neighborhood kids or playing in recess at school. It's just fun.
That was the first time I played football in years. I used to play, but I had a blast. Definitely one of the highlights from the retreat, for sure.
It's an opportunity for all the attendees to bond and not just talking about business, not just training, but just going back and just letting it all out and just playing. Just not thinking about anything specific, not thinking about how you're feeding your family the next day. It's just, you know, I'm just gonna have fun. So it's a special moment.
It was just chaos. Nobody could hold the ball. They'd throw the ball, it would go the wrong direction. Certainly nobody could catch, except for Ryan Groth. Ryan came out with like 3 or 4 interceptions. He was running touchdowns. He was doing a phenomenal job showing his athletic prowess.
So man, once we get back,
Leave all that Ryan out. Send it to him privately. The next morning, as everybody's kind of cleaning up and certain people have left and other people are trying to find rides to the airport and, you know, just trying to get everybody out of the house before checkout, I got to sit with a handful of guys. It's kind of, I don't know if somber is the right word, but it's sad in a way, because you've had 2.5 days to create a relationship, a bond with these men. And you know, the truth of the matter is, a percentage of them will be lifelong friends. And the rest of those men, ever how much impact they took away from being at the retreat, you may never talk to them again.
When I first saw an ad about one of the free retreats, it was 6 months after my market experienced a hurricane. We were, completely buried. There was absolutely no way that I felt like it would ever bring enough value for me to justify leaving my business for, you know, just a short weekend.
Almost backed out at the last minute. I had a lot of things within my business that came up.
Like, I was kind of on the fence.
At one point I was thinking like, okay, I'm just not meant to go.
Your network is your net worth. So if you're not surrounded by other people who are in your same mindset trying to push and get better, then it's real easy to get burned out. So coming to stuff like this gets you fired back up, gives you new ideas to keep coming back and pushing.
But it was the most impactful thing, the single most impactful thing, 16 years in business that I've ever done.
I'm so glad that we pushed through. We've had an amazing weekend with guys that are walking the same path that we are in life, going through the same struggles, experiencing the same things. So it was just amazing to hear everyone's stories of how they've overcome their difficulties.
Complete transformation of me. I felt empowered. For the first time, I'm ready to make the decision to actually go all in. And when I say go all in, I mean go all in as far as making roofing a full-time profession. Revolt has given me the opportunity to, as soon as I do go home, I'm empowered enough that I can make that life-changing decision and know that everything's going to be okay, that I'm going to be able to overcome everything.
I was sold last year, coming in this year, you know, but I didn't know necessarily what to expect.
Being here, what really impacted me was to see how my heart aligned with other men that have a heart for business, to go after it, to be all in, and ultimately to leave a legacy.
It's a legacy that I want to leave behind, okay? So if I pass today, what is it that I left behind? What did I contribute to the world?
I encourage anybody, you know, no matter the size of the business in this space, to check out Revolt and just come to one of the retreats.
Revolt doesn't end with a free retreat. It just begins with a free retreat.
It's a brotherhood is what it is.
Man, the brotherhood. The brotherhood.
A brotherhood.
You know, life is about connection, so we're not alone, and this just totally reinforces that for me. So
it's just rare air. There's very few opportunities for entrepreneurs, I lump myself into that, to where we can come into a room where we can be surrounded by other men that deal with the same struggles that we deal with.
Man, this makes dudes vulnerable. It'll break a dude down and then very strategically build him back up.
We're just able to open up, and we don't get to do that very often.
It's been an amazing experience. Just coming around, you know, like kind of people that you, other business owners that do the same type of things that you do. It's been eye-opening. And
it just reminded me of when I was a kid and I shared a room with my twin brother, and we would just talk about whatever at night. It was just a really good nostalgic moment, but with a really different twist.
And immediately saw that this was a very unique experience in comparison to some other events or programs that may be available out there. And
there's got to be a gotcha. They're going to ask us. They're going to hard pressure us. It's going to be like a timeshare. It was nothing like that. I mean, we'll hold you accountable, set goals for you, encourage you to be your best self and show up and be present in people's lives.
Do you have to be here? No.
You know, if you're thinking about coming, if you see it on Facebook, you think this is too good to be true.
Would I recommend to come here? Yes.
Just take a chance, sign up, come, be present, and grow.
I'm almost positive that any person will find value in this event. One way or another, first day, second day, somewhere in between, it's going to be something for you.
If you've seen the Revolt videos, if it's piqued your interest at all, man, worth it.
I honestly think that this is a life-changing event, not just in your business, but for personal reasons as well. I can honestly say that I grew as a man, as a person, as a husband, as a brother, as a son. My personal life has truly changed just from coming to this retreat this weekend.
Set aside that time, book that ticket, book that rental car, whatever the case might be. Get dudes in place to run your business for 3 days. Come to the retreat. It will quite literally revolutionize the way you go back and actually produce, lead, all of those things that we want to as owners. We'll actually do those things inside of our business, but it's going to give you an encouragement to take it a step further and to be the leader, not only in your business, but the leader and the man and the husband in your home that you're required to be.
one of the most powerful things that we get is when somebody decides to join REVOLT, and we get to stay with them for the next 12 months or 24 months or however long they decide to be a part of that. Because at that point, you know, the relationship is there. We get to be a part of their business. We get to speak to them, you know, a ton throughout the year. I mean, sometimes daily.
It's going to create so much lasting value down the road. I don't think I've actually realized the full significance of the benefits from the things that we've implemented since joining REVOLT. I know that it's going to be super impactful and not short term. We're talking long-term value that's built into my business, and I'm really excited to see how things continue to progress, and I certainly credit much of that to REVOLT.
So we ended up having 7 people decide to join, and I think only 5 while we were there on site, a handful more afterwards. When the quarterback card was handed to me, you know, I'm gonna lead the team, I'm gonna lead the retreat, but I promise there's nobody harder on me than myself, except maybe Hunter.
So it really does come down to, and I know I say this all the time, but it's just the truth, multiplication over addition. If I go out and I lead a retreat 30 business owners at a time, that's great. I'm impacting 30 lives at a time. But if I can create 30 leaders who go and lead at 30 retreats every other month, now I'm reaching hundreds of people and nearly 1,000 people, right? For us, it just proved that is real. Like we can make a difference with people on our team, people outside of our team that came in and helped us run the retreat. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Hey, my name is Rob Curtis. I joined REVOLT after attending one of the Gatlinburg retreats this summer. It was a much different experience from what I expected, and I found a lot of value in connecting with contractors from across the country to share their stories and learn from their mistakes. I'm really excited to be a part of the community of like-minded owners who understand that strength comes in numbers, and I hope to contribute in any way that I can, particularly with my claims management company, Sure Claims. Thank you, Robert, Daniel, and William for setting this up. I look forward to being a big part of this community for many years to come.
What's up, guys? Brent Hulsey here with Hammered Down Exteriors. Super pumped to be a new REVOLT member. Had an ecstatic time at the Overcome retreat there in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Totally eye-opening. Made me think of stuff that I've never even thought of before. And just stuff I'm really looking to get out of my membership with REVOLT is just shorten that learning curve, right? Gain the knowledge from the guys that have been there and done it. Again, super pumped and can't wait to see what's in store. Thanks.
Hey guys, this is Joe Soleil. I own a remodeling company in Greenville, South Carolina. I joined REVOLT after going to a REVOLT retreat. I'm excited to be around a group of guys that are killing it. In a lot of ways.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name's Terrell Dyer, owner of Southern Roofing and Exteriors. I joined REVOLT after the Overcome retreat. Man, going into it, I really didn't know what to expect, but leaving, I was blown away. The guys that were there, the quality of the guys that were there, not only just like the speakers and trainers, but really also the group of guys that you were with. Also, man, just looking to contribute as well as far as accountability. Like I'm already in a bunch of accountability chats. We're holding each other accountable for working out, hitting our goals. Really thankful for Revolt, really thankful for joining, and I'm excited for the next 12 months and what it's going to do to our business.
Hey guys, Matthew Gurney, Watchman Roofing out of Greencastle, Indiana. After going to the Overcome retreat in Gatlinburg, I realized that the network of people that were associated with Revolt had the same character and ethics, had the same values that Watchman Roofing esteems itself on. The camaraderie in the roofing industry, it's not really found. It is such a competitive market. So to be here, to be a help, to be an encouragement to others, that's what we're looking forward to. So appreciate this group, love these guys. Thank you for an opportunity. Love to attach ourselves to this. So here we go.
Everybody in? Yes, sir. Ready? 1, 2, 3, revolt! Yeah, buddy.